Computer. Okay, well, welcome. Okay, we are starting our business planning series. This is a four-part series, guys. It's going to go tonight, November, let's see, tonight, November 11th, November 25th. We're going to skip 1 week. We are going to have it December 2nd and December 9th. Okay. It's a very in-depth, really making you think. I want everyone to really pull apart the plans, break it down step by step, really dissect what you're doing and why you're doing it, okay? So I've revamped a few different things. I've had these in the past. If anybody's been with me in the past few years, we have done them, but that's okay. Oh, Steph is here. Hi, Steph. How are you? Good to see you. We have our other district director here, which is awesome.
Can you hear me or am I on mute?
Yeah, no, I can hear you great. How are you?
Oh, hi, family. I'm still driving and it's already so dark out here. So I am here. I am checked in. So I'm looking forward to this and I'm really glad to see all of you guys on. I'm going to send another note to our district as well because I know I had a few of them that wanted to jump on too. So I'll send a reminder. But yeah, let's get going and let's get
Yeah.
business planning, y'all. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is a good one. So again, four-part series, and tonight is the start. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to pull up my presentation and start it right now. Let's see, desktop view. So you'll see that I have let me do the play from start slide here. Hang on. There we go. So here are our dates. This is the four-part business series. All have the dates in mind. So I just want to make sure you have a note. I did it at night because I think that there's a little bit more time at night sometimes than in our day. So I hope that works out for everybody. We will be discussing topics. Tonight's topics will focus around the essence of business planning, setting the foundations, and recognizing some of our goals, also our mindset. Okay, so these are where we're going to start. We're going to start building the foundation of why we even do a plan anyway, right? Um, by the way, I'm sure a lot of you guys have already had the opportunity to build a business plan in the past, and I'm glad you did. I've been telling everybody to rip their plan out from 2025 and get looking at it. So maybe you can add some things that we talk about tonight and in the next few weeks to try to develop your own and motivate you to really kind of dig in. Where are you right now in that plan? But tonight we're going to cover the topics of developing a business plan for your real estate business, obviously. We're going to have a great template to go by. It's a very, I emailed it to Stephanie. She has it. It's very in depth and it's very complex, but I want to break it down step by step so it won't be that confusing for you. Discover your why and identify your motivation. I think that's the biggest thing we have to do with the foundations. In developing a business plan, we have to know what our why is and what motivates us. Identifying your target audience, obviously, and developing a marketing strategy, and that will come in the next few sessions. And also setting measurable goals and tracking your progress. So those will be in additional sessions. We're going to really dive into the foundations tonight, okay? And I'm going to bring up my good friend Simon Sinek. Do you guys know who he is by any chance? Anyone? No? Okay. He's awesome. I love him. Start with why. He's an author and a public speaker, motivational speaker, and just dissecting why people do what we do and what makes somebody successful, especially in the business sense. Okay, so I'm gonna play a video and just stay tuned and let me know what you think.
Probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, but very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. By why, I mean, what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? And why should anyone care? The inspired leaders and the inspired organizations all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this: we make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Again, the goal is not just to sell people who need what you have. The goal is to sell to people who believe what you believe. If you hire people just because they can do a job, they'll work for your money. But if you hire people who believe what you believe, they work for you with blood and sweat and tears. Something called the law of diffusion of innovation. The first 2.5% of our population are our innovators. The next 13.5% of our population are our early adopters. The next 34% are your early majority, your late majority, and your laggards. That if you want mass market success or mass market acceptance of an idea, you cannot have it until you achieve this tipping point between 15 and 18% market penetration. So it's this here, this little gap that you have to close. Because you see, the early majority will not try something until someone else has tried it first. And these guys, the innovators and the early adopters, they're more comfortable making those intuitive decisions that are driven by what they believe about the world and not just what product is available. These are the people who stood online for 6 hours to buy an iPhone when they first came out. Leaders hold a position of power or authority, but those who lead inspire us. And it's those who start why that have the ability to inspire those around them or find others who inspire them. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. So does everybody understand that concept of why? Why people do things? What do you do? What do you need to know? Why do you need to know why you do things and how important it is?
Yes, but sometimes communicating it or expressing it in a way that gets people to buy in sometimes is a challenge.
That's right. And I think if everybody starts though with their passion, I think everybody forgets the purpose, their underlying purpose. And there are reasons why we challenge ourselves or we give up or we sort of abandon the original formula and we try different things all the time. And we'll get to that too. But I think, when I listen to that, all I hear is your beliefs, intuitiveness, your purpose, inspire. And what that causes me to believe is your passion. And if you don't have passion, I don't think anyone will be trustworthy. And, having that authentic passion is authentic. Okay. And if you cannot show that in your business life and your personal life too, by the way, it's all about relationships, right? And what we do is create relationships and nurture relationships. And people want to be trusting that person that they buy or purchase things from, either service or whatever. And also friends too, right? We all have friends, which is going to lead me to the next screen too. And Simon's going to give us a little test on how we find out our why. Has anyone done the friends test, by the way, that he talks of? I don't know if anyone's familiar enough with the friends test. Hmm.
No,
Never.
I have not.
Okay. So we're gonna go through how we find out our why. And this is really interesting. If you haven't done this, I suggest we try it this week. Okay, this is one of our things I'm going to ask you to do this week. So I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna let him
Probably the
talk and
world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. This little idea know why they do what they do. By why, I mean, what's your purpose? What's your call?
there we go. Finding your why. There we go. Sorry about that. This is the friends test.
There's no such thing as changing your why. Your why is something objective. It's who you are. It's who you are at your natural best. We were all fully formed when we were young. We are products of our upbringing. And we can make tactical changes, but fundamentally who we are is who we are. And putting your why into words is putting that into words. So once it's written, you can tweak the language for sure and find nuance, but there's no changing it. So if you're changing it every year, probably not your why. But I can tell you a fun little exercise if you want to learn your why. I call it the friends test. Call a friend who you love, someone who you could call them at 3 o'clock in the morning, or they could call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you would absolutely take the call. Do not do this with a spouse or a sibling. Those relationships are too close because they know you too well. Do it with a best friend and ask them this simple question: why are we friends? And they're going to look at you like you're crazy. Because you're asking them to put into words something that exists in the emotional part of their brain, the limbic brain, but that part of the brain doesn't control language, the neocortex. And so they're going to say, I don't know. Why are you asking me? And you say, come on, just humor me. And then weirdly, you stop asking the question why. You ask the question what. It elicits better answers. Come on, what specifically is it about me that I know that you would be there for me no matter what? And they'll start describing you. I don't know. I can trust you. You're smart. You're funny. And you play devil's advocate. Great. That's a lot of friends. What specifically is it about me? And they're going to go through a few rounds of hemming and hawing, and eventually they'll give up. And eventually they'll give up and start describing themselves. And this is what my friend said to me. I don't know, Simon. All I know is I can just sit in a room with you. I don't even have to talk to you, and I feel inspired. And I got goosebumps. In fact, I'm getting them right now. And if you do this with multiple friends, you'll get very similar, if not the exact same answer, because what they're articulating is your value you have in the world, which is your why. So it's a fun way to get at it if you're interested in it.
Okay. What do you guys think of that? Any opinions?
It's interesting
right.
that he says we can't ask family.
Yeah. There's a reason for that. You're too close to them. You're just too close to them. And sometimes, you have other relationships that might emotional balance might be unbalanced in some of those relationships that are very, very upfront and personal and close. Your friends is the one way to go because your friends will do anything for you, the good ones. Everybody hopefully has one or two good friends in their life, and those are the people that you want to do this test with. I
It's Stephanie.
yes.
Oh, go ahead.
No, no,
Sorry.
no. I was waiting. Go ahead.
Um, so I didn't get to unmute before you played it, but I have done the friends test before. And when you do it with those people that are your genuine 3 a.m. call friends,
Mhm.
the tears might flow because they'll go deeper and they will tell you, exactly why. But James, you had mentioned, sometimes it's hard to communicate that why. You get the concept, but how do I put that into words, right? And something that we do when we teach business planning and talking about your why is you got to go 5 deep at least, right? So you always say, but why, even though you have your one reason, and then you say, but why? And then you move forward, writing down some more things, and you say, but why, right? So you go 5 levels deep of asking yourself why to get to really a core piece. But if you're not doing that for yourself, you're doing it with the friends test. I think it's funny because Simon literally says the same thing when you do that, because your friend is going to go, what are you talking about? Because you're nice, right? But you need to take it deeper. You need to say, okay, but what is it about me? What drives you to be my friend, right? So you're doing the same thing with the friends test. So whether you're doing it by yourself, go deeper with it, because the why, the first thing that comes to your mind is usually not going to be it, right? And so the first thing that comes to your mind is like the glimpse. And then you go deeper. Okay, but why do I want that? Or why do I act that way? Why do I want that? And so you take that at least 5 levels deep. And sometimes that takes more than just this 10-minute exercise, right? So just make sure that, as you're trying, because James, it sounds like, when you said, oh, it's hard to communicate, you've been working on this, and that's good, right? And so you get to a place where you want to say, okay, 5 levels at least. I mean, Rodney, I think you're on the call. Rodney and I went one time about 11, I think we got to like 12 levels deep, but why, but why, but why, right? So, yeah, so I love that, whether it's the friends test that you're doing with someone else, or if you're doing it just for yourself and you're trying to get to that why, the communication piece and really driving to it is really just going deeper than just that first surface level. That would be my suggestion. But I love the friends test. Tears flowed when I had it with a couple friends. So.
Yeah, same here stuff. That's what happened with me
Yep.
too. And
Yep.
I think it's a deep dive to get soul to soul with people. And I think that's what it's all about is when we talk about beliefs and thoughts and reality and your passion and your authentic self and knowing your why. I don't want to get too woo or anything on anybody, but here's the thing. We have to understand who we are as people and what we believe in. And when we do those deep dive conversations with people, we're going to the root on who we are. And you're asking a friend to go to the root too. And there'll be ways to understanding different. We're going to do some mindset searches too in this. It's towards the end of the hour, but I'm going to give you guys a lot to think about to do it with yourselves too, to do a little bit of soul diving on yourself as well. So this is all about understanding foundations, and that mindset controls your business, and the mindset you have to understand who you are as a person and what your plans are for the future, to move forward. So you have to go into the circle first, and then you do the how, and then we do, the what and the how come after that, okay? Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for sharing on that.
There's no such thing as change.
I don't know why this is right. So here's a little template I made up for everybody. So your purpose, why do you bother? What is your motivation? Your real motivation? Get honest. And this is from Brene Brown. I love Brene Brown. If you guys don't know who she is, Dare to Lead. It's a great book, but she really talks about vulnerability and honesty when we talk about courage and vulnerability. But half of that is, do you do things based on fear, based on praise? What drives you? And you have to be vulnerable enough to understand yourself. And again, I'm going to go into that a little bit later to do some testing on that. But for right now, your why is essentially the purpose behind the actions you take in your business. And we are kind of establishing business, aren't we here? This is a business plan, so we're trying to keep it, but we do have to do a deep dive into personality too, a little bit. So it provides you with a reason to persevere, especially in challenging times when the business is not performing as expected. And these past couple of years have been challenging, wouldn't you say, everybody? I mean, a lot of us have persevered, and the people that really have their why, they might not be able to put it into language, but they're doing it. They have been awesome. They keep the eye on the prize. They know what they have to do. They're comfortable in their own skin. They're comfortable with their relationships. And it's almost like removing stones out of your pathway. There's nothing there. They've cleared everything that might have been obstacles. When you clear the obstacles in front of you, and it's usually the obstacles you throw in your way, right? We all have a way of throwing stuff in our own path, own worst enemy, I guess you could say. There's reasons for that too. Again, we'll do the deep dive, but we have once that path is cleared, the water just flows and you can move forward in growth, and move forward in success. So this is all related to the business we have. All right. So when you have to keep on track and always link back to your purpose and you'll find your direction. So in order to kind of go forward, you have to keep reminding yourself on why you're there to begin with, right? So once you start and you have a clear understanding and your motivation, you can always go back to that when you're in times to remind yourself of why you do it, and then you can always go forward again from there. So it's almost like setting up the wall, like from today on, you have to create a wall so that your past and all of the things that might have harmed us in the past or bothered us in the past or the things we didn't know. Today's a new day, guys. We can start this all today, and from here on you make yourself that clear motivational statement. You have your mission statement and your value proposition, which we'll talk about in 2 seconds, okay? But you have to have it aligns, all your actions are going to align with that ultimate objective, okay? And ensuring that every step is towards achieving your purpose, okay? And inspiration and passion, please, you don't have to tell me about passion. I know half the people on the call are very passionate of what they do. There are a lot of servers out there, right? We want to serve and be a help and actually make a difference in our life and in the world around us and our communities. And that's kind of why we're here. I mean, you guys are in real estate. Do you realize that we help people find homes, which is like what do we have? We have food, shelter, you know what I mean? One of our three basic needs to survive. And we're working in that field of providing shelter for people. It's one of our basic human needs in life, and here you are. So I would say that is definitely a service-driven profession and a need within us to serve others, right? And give back to our communities as well. And we are in our own business because that's the world we are, right? We are 1099 and we all have our own business to think about. I always talk about wearing multiple hats in this field, and you have to, as a CEO of your business, you have to check in. You have to do the check in with your mind to step back, get clarity again, take a few deep breaths, right? And go back to your direction, find your purpose again, keep reminding yourself of your purpose, and then move forward again. I would say every morning do it, okay? Um, your value proposition, you're going to be defining why you set apart from your competition. What can you bring to the table that's unique and different? And I know this is kind of just jargon to you right now, but I'm gonna get into the value proposition in a second with you to understand how to do all this stuff. Because I like details. I don't want to be just like given a bunch of jargon in life. I want to be actually shown how to do it. All right. I think it's much more rewarding and valuable to anybody to give you guys a roadmap here. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Um, make sure the continuity is there. Okay. Get the framework. You have to have the stable base to be grounded. You have to ground yourself all the time. And then customer connections. That's what the trust relationship is about. So all of this stuff helps connect with customers on a deeper level because if you don't understand why you do things, nobody else will either. It's just like he was saying, right? And enjoyment. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, guys, I don't know, you might have to go to a different field because nobody wants to be in a boring job. And when I say that, if you're bored and you can't motivate yourself to do what you need to do every day, then maybe we need to talk and look at your business strategy, your marketing plan. Something's not exciting you in that. So maybe you are have to concentrate on a different section of real estate. Okay. Maybe there's something in your history that we can help you with. I mean, let's just say, you know what, Cara, I just can't do the everyday, you know, just the beast of burden everyday world that we live in the general real estate thing. I really like working with handicapped people. Maybe that's your goal and you're serving your call, right? Well, let's form a business plan around that then. Because guess what? There are so many handicapped people that need direction in life, that need shelter, that don't know about all kinds of state plans and state grants and how you can make your home better places, or maybe you need to get involved in your town and try to work with different vendors, different homeowner associations to make it more accessible for handicap and start educating that field, right? The people in that world. And that's just one example, okay? Of maybe you have to find a different outlook. If something's not working, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again, right? You have to fix what's broken, or else you're not going to change. You can't grow, right? So I just wanted to put that out there too. And at that, I'm going to stop the presentation for a minute because I do have a different slide. Hang on, your motivation. But since we were talking about the value proposition, I'm going to bring in another thing, and I want to remind you guys of, hold on, that's not the one, not the one. Master business plan, not yet, not yet. Not yet. Where is it? Hang on. Give me 2 seconds to find this. It's right at my tippy top. Unique value proposition. Okay. And I'm going to put all these in the chat for you guys. I'm going to actually give everybody on the call today all of this stuff, and all of this stuff will be in the training materials in Fathom Academy too, just so you can go back to it. But I just want to talk about that unique value proposition, right? To make it credible and a promise to consumers, solving problems to help obtain aspirational goals, and differentiating yourself from competitors too. So in order to get there, you really do have to go into your core values, which is your path and your gross dominant, your creative force, all right, which comes from inside of you, love life, authenticity, belonging to something greater than I, okay? You're altruistic, others before yourself, okay? So that's where your core values come from, right? Um, And then you have your guiding principles too, right? Fathom's guiding principles are love, service, integrity, acceptance, respect, support, charity, and family. So it's kind of like you're looking at core, and then you're looking at your guiding principles where that core releases and how it releases into the public, right? How you release yourself to the public around us. Um, we're going to definitely talk about fear and how fear plays a role in driving all of us. That's coming. But in the meantime, I just kind of wanted to show you what my value proposition is, okay? Just so you can understand something about it. And I have a tagline, okay? So my team, the tagline is innovative, intuitive, and inspired to serve. So for me and my business, that's my tagline. I suggest everybody on the call try to think of something that actually reflects what you're trying to put out there in the world, okay? And for me, those three things are definitely me. I don't know if you know me or not, but I love innovation. I'm very intuitive when it comes to working. I try to come up with ideas, and I am so definitely inspired to serve on a daily basis, which is why I'm on the call with you guys tonight. All right. I love doing stuff. I love helping. I love teaching. I love educating. Anything that I know, I like to share. All right. But this is my value proposition. It took me a long time to write it, too. It wasn't just an overnight thing. But when I wrote it, I was really thinking about how I what like he talked about with Apple. All right. I just didn't want to be, hey, listen, I just want to serve everybody and I can, I love working with home sellers and buyers through every step of the way. And now all of a sudden AI can write everything for you. And I didn't want to do that. So I just wrote our approach to real estate transcends the traditional transaction. Each sale represents a unique story. To me, it's a family, maybe a dedicated professional, a newfound friend, a moment of crisis, or a celebration of achievement. With unwavering dedication, we crafted a distinctive, innovative methodology to guide and support our clients through every stage of their lives, delivering unmatched efficiency and comfort along the way. And I really didn't mention anything about real estate in that statement, did I?
No.
Hmm.
Carl, I
So
just want to,
go
can I
ahead.
just tell you something? When I was looking to join companies,
Hmm.
I love that Fathom used that scripture, whoever wants to be great must become a servant of all.
Hmm.
And I could, I felt like I aligned with that. And that's why I chose Fathom. I did check other companies and whatever, but I was like, no, you know what? That's where I want to be with my clients. And I don't have a value proposition. I haven't had one, but this weekend at church, I did actually was listening to the sermon, and the scripture was do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, rather in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of others. And when that scripture came out, I said, I am tying that into my business,
Hmm.
whether it be in my book. I make buyer or seller books, but I feel like that is the crux of what a powerful agent will be, somebody who's always looking out for their client's interest as instead of their own. And then later on, the money's going to follow. And I really believe that with my whole heart.
Well, I do too. I believe the money will always follow. So if you do things accordingly, if you put others above yourself and you work really, you work diligently for their, in their best interests, right? It's just the way you go. I don't look around me to the left or to the right to see how much I mean, occasionally I'll be like, okay, wait a minute, let's check in with the numbers. And I have to do my data. And when I put my accounting hat on at the end of the month, I do check my numbers. I'm not going to lie, but it doesn't lead me. What leads me is my passion. And this is what leads me. Okay. I am inspired to serve. And that's where my heart comes from. And that's what I've decided to do in my business, just like you, right? And whatever your belief system is, and it doesn't matter what religion you happen to be in, there's all kinds of motivation, right? So get motivated. And again, we're going back to our soul contracts here. We're doing a deep dive into what who we are, and every one of us has unique gifts and talents, right? So I just wanted to go into the value proposition a little bit and talk about motivation and internal and external motivational, what everybody says about motivation. So, of course, externally, what motivates us, right? We can say that like Terry was just saying, some people do it for rewards, money, praise, punishments, and pain, right? That those are external. Internal is self-driven, meaning, we do it for our enjoyment. We do it for curiosity, recognition, pleasure, all right? So, we have to figure out what our motivation is, right? And I look at all these people around me and like, who motivates me? Who don't you guys have idols in your life? You know what I mean? Greatest of all time. I mean, what motivated Tom Brady to do what he did? Or Steve Jobs, right? Or Tesla, Walt Disney. Look at Santa. I mean, come on. Benjamin Franklin, so we've got a lot of influential people up here. What motivated them? What were their internal motivations? Now, what Terry was just saying, I'm kind of going to hop on that right now because it seems to me if your internal motivations are out of sort of a selfish kind of like selfish nature, right? Like, or fear-based, because a lot of our stuff is from fear, what drives us that we don't even know about. And again, when Stephanie talks about going to the root, go to the root, like what is it, a 5-time deep dive in there? Keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. We might find that our external motivation is built on a fear of some kind. Like, I might sit there and say, okay, I need to make money. Why do I want to make money? I want to make more money. Well, why do I really want to make more money? It's not because I like green cash, because green cash is a dollar bill. If I didn't know what it was and I was born today or whenever, I'd look at it as a piece of paper, right? It's not kind of the money, right? Well, what does money buy? Well, it buys me stuff. What kind of stuff does it buy? Well, stuff that might um, make my life easier. Why do I need to make my life easier? You see what I'm doing here? Why do I want to go on vacation? Why do I want to make my life easier with things that, do I need the things? What am I really need the money for? And when it comes down to it, it could be out of fear, a fear-driven belief that if I do not provide for my family, we could end up homeless and on the streets, and I can never let that happen. So because of that, I need to build my business and make money so that I can support my family so I can alleviate that intense fear that lives within me somewhere. Okay. So I'm just saying it could be that deep. You have to do your deep dives yourself to recognize all of this, right? Or it could be praise. Well, why do we need praise so much? You love the praise, right? You love to be recognized. Why? Right? So we kind of have to keep asking ourselves why. And it's funny, I was thinking something this weekend and it's been in my head all week. Um, what is it? In order to receive, one gets receiving from giving, right? So for me, that's what I get. And if you give, you receive. What do you receive from giving? It's a selfish kind of thing, but it makes me feel good to give. Okay. It hits that pleasure note in me, gives me the serotonin, the dopamine kind of helping somebody else. So in a little bit, it's a little bit selfish to go that way, but in order to receive, I must give. Okay, because that is my enjoyment. That's what I do. So I'm just putting that out there too. So I just want to let you guys know about the external and the internal reward systems and the motivation, what guides us, so that you guys can take a deep dive in. I mean, what did she do in life? I'm not really sure what she does, why she did what she did. What was the reward for her? Was she just hoping? Was it a hope in her heart? I'm not sure. So, what drives you? Is it a hope? Is it a faith? Is it a trust in something that doesn't, maybe it's a faith in you of always believing in the best and optimistic nature. I'm not sure. All right. But I want you guys to start thinking about this group of people and how you can relate these motivations to yourself. Okay. Again, we talked about the value proposition, and here are some qualities and standards that govern a behavior, of a person, and principles, rules of belief that govern our actions. Okay. So make a credible promise to a consumer. We solve problems or help attain aspirational goals. Differentiate ourselves. We provide quantifiable benefits, right? I talk about benefits all the time. In fact, what's one of my main things is, you know, don't make a phone call without giving them a benefit, right? You never make a phone call and without giving something to somebody, right? Or you never offer something. It's not quite a call to action. It's more of a giveaway. What are you giving them? What benefit? What is it going to benefit them to talk to you today, right? It's that Simon Sinek version of it gets to a point where the friend couldn't understand, like he stopped saying about Simon and he started talking about the way that Simon made him feel, right? So if you work in reverse and try to picture and get in that mindset all the time, even in every conversation you have with your clients, you will see a change and a shift, okay, happen. And if you can manage to get there and do that, to think about them and their needs and what they might need, and how you can provide that benefit to them before they even might even know it themselves. Okay. Um, Persuading consumers to take action, purchase or donate. Persuading, is it persuading or is it just providing? I think it's more, like I said, I don't want to persuade anyone. I just want to have them uh, take advantage, I guess, personally, of what I'm offering them. Is that persuasion? Maybe because I'm doing it in a very systematic kind of way, aren't I, to get to a certain goal. Does that make sense, everyone?
That's really a tough one. I am not high pressure sales at all. And sometimes I kick myself and say, why didn't I say, come on, this is a phenomenal deal. This is going to be a great move, And I'm just not there with it. You know what I mean? I just don't know, at what point do you get slimy when you're like, come on, buy this house, So that's a tough thing, I will just say right now.
I don't get into people's businesses. It's their walk, not mine. It's their mistakes, not mine. But I'm kind of like a doctor. I always position myself like I'm making your recommendations here. This is what I know. These are the facts. It's your decision at the end of the day. I will do whatever you want me to do. But I have to say I don't recommend that, or I do definitely recommend this, and this is why. And I try to provide facts, um, with them for that. Sometimes they need to wait and make the mistakes themselves. And it's not my job to persuade them or lead them to believe. Like I had an instance where, you know, I have a couple of applications for a landlord right now, right? Now, I personally like one of them, right? I think he's a nice guy, but he is he risky on paper? Maybe a little bit more than the other one. So whose decision is it though? It's not my decision. I just present the facts to them. I give them a slight bit of an opinion, but I'm not there to make that decision for them at all. They have to make that decision, not me. So I have to, it's my job actually to keep myself removed and my opinions removed because my opinions might not be the correct way that this is supposed to work out for either party. It's that line, right? That we walk all the time. And I'm glad you question yourself on it though, because that's showing that you're aware. And being aware is half the battle. Yes, no?
Yeah, no, I mean, also, I've had buyers buy things and I'm like, really?
Yeah, I had that. Yeah,
Well, the
sure.
door swings both ways, but I know it's my job just to give them all the information and let them make a decision. But I definitely feel bummed out when I see people make a decision that I don't think is the right one. But that's not I can stay in my own lane too. So I guess that's the way to say it. But it is something we are salespeople. We are to persuade people, but I just don't ever want people to think I was that person that I
Uh,
can't stand pushy salespeople, and I never want to be that myself. So I guess I try to overcompensate for it.
yeah. I think I do too a little bit. Just my nature, I hate being pushy myself. Although I have recognized a point of, a standard in my business. Okay, so I do not get walked all over. There are standards that you have to maintain too. All right. So just because I'm a servant, what does Sam say? She said it a couple times. Uh, don't confuse servitude for naivety. Okay. So I'm not naive either. Okay. And just because I'm a nice person does not mean I'm naive. And I think it's, after you learn so many times, you do get burned. And let's face it, people aren't nice out there. There are different people that I would refuse to work with that a long time ago that I would be like, I'll work with them just because I want a deal, right? All of a sudden you grow up and you change your mind and you're like, okay, I'm going to put that CEO hat on today. And is that a good move for the company or not? So if you start to wear that CEO hat more often and say, and decide in your head somewhere that, is this good for the company? Is this good for the projection of where the growth of the company, the focus of the company is growing? Is this where we want to be? Is this what we want to be doing? Is this who we want to be seen with? We doing the right things here? And a lot of that is no. And some of it will be, yeah, that's okay. That's acceptable today. And by the way, it can always change as you grow. Nothing has to be set in stone, and we all learn our lessons. And if we didn't learn anything, right, we wouldn't be growing. If there weren't any bad experiences, there can never be any good ones. Okay, so I'm just going to figure out where I am in my slides here. Okay, here we go. Mission statement. It's kind of the same thing. It's not a memo. I love this picture of Tom Cruise. Can you guys see where I am here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Should be simple, should be clear, state the purpose, should be viewable to the public. So you should have that on your websites and you should know it by heart. Okay. So Fathom Realty right here, to be the #1 real estate brokerage in the US, offering a full service model while providing our agents with the industry's best compensation plans. All right, that is the mission statement of Fathom Realty. Again, here we are over here, out of the box way to serve our clients through their life stages with blinding efficiency and ease. It's kind of the cut down version of the one I just went through. So those are a couple of examples, and if you need to help write one, I will help you write one. You can ask AI if you want, but don't rely definitely on AI to do anything. Okay, especially make something just to make it sound good. All right, this is very personal. So again, we look at vision boards to keep us motivated. I gotta tell you, um, some people are better visual people than data people, and opposite, and you can write your own. I actually have one in the business plan that you can actually type it in your vision board, and you can type it in if you're a data person. A lot of times the vision boards, though, I have one right above my desk, and this is what it looks like. Okay. So for me, these are my goals, and some are personal, some are not personal, but this is where I am in my life, right? I want to be healthy, lifestyle. And continue music goals. Retirement planning is a big deal for me right now. I'm trying to attract wealth and prosperity. I'm a beast. I work a lot, I work hard. I work a lot, I'm trying to save for a new kitchen. I'm trying to balance, balance work and personal life. That's always like right here for me right now. All right. So I want you guys all, that's another, piece that I want everybody to do this week is to go in and do your vision board, whether it's in writing on paper or you're going to do something like this. Okay. And visualize it. So when you look at it every day, it's a visual reminder for you, right? Um, what is SWOT? Has anybody ever used this matrix before or SWOT model?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I have this in the business template as well. And what we want to do is discover what our strengths are. What do we do well? And here's some of mine, listing appointments, systems for lead gen and relationship builder, right? What resources can you draw on and what do others see as your strengths? Okay. So what do you do well? What do you see and what do others see in you? All right. What's your weakness? right? What can you improve on? And these are really things that you really need to be honest about, please. And I want everybody to do one of these. And these will help us go to the next step next week or the couple weeks from now. It's a lot to do and a lot to think about, but I'm hoping within a 2 week period, everybody will be caught up and really do all of this stuff that I'm asking them to do. And then we can move forward with all of our numbers and everything. All right. Then the next one is opportunities. So what opportunities are open to you right now? What can you take advantage of? And what do you see room for improvement? So, ability to capture more business from fleeing agents, offices are closing so for me in recruiting, maybe I can capture some of those opportunities. And this is just mine. Again, it's one of mine. Okay, threat. What's my threat? What threats could cause harm to you? You always have to know what your competition is, guys. Who's your biggest competition out there? What are they doing? If you do YouTube videos, you can actually it's really cool. I don't know if it's cool or not cool, but they have a way to analyze what your competitor video like channels are doing out there so that you can keep up with them too. And what are the biggest views on other people's channels that might be your competitors so that you can help formulate a system to make videos out there, right? So there's things like that. You always have to know what your competition is. What can harm you in your business? What weaknesses can expose you, and what is your competition doing better? So please know what they are, right? If somebody next to you is doing something different, then you need to kind of look and see what's around you and who they are and what it is they're doing. You have to keep an eye on your competition always. All right. And again, it's something we don't really think about, do we? We don't look around us very often. Um, I have an exercise, by the way. I know it might not make sense, but it'll keep this in mind with threats. I see threats and I go immediately to my karate training, right? And one of the things I always taught everybody in self-defense was I want everybody the next time they're in a crowded the mall or the plaza, I want you guys to all look around and be the criminal. All right. Be the pickpocketer, be the identity, all of a sudden just make yourself that way for a minute and look around and see who you would victimize and pick the person that you think might be easy. What do criminals think, right? And then pick the person out that might be easy for you to pickpocket. Somebody who might be distracted. What are they doing? Are they walking to their car with their head down? Do they have their doors unlocked? Are they by themselves? Are they carrying a ton of bags and completely distracted? Are they looking at their phone? They're just down looking at their phone, completely zoned out, not paying attention to anybody around them at all, right? So I see this and I think about competitors. Not that I want you guys, I'm not saying, do it be that way. It's a kind of a neat exercise though for self-defense and to protect yourself, to not be a victim is what I'm trying to get at. But I see threats. So you should always keep in mind who may harm you at all times. And I don't mean in a physical way, but this is a business strategy way. Understand? That was a good visual. All right. Um, okay. This is the part that kind of gets more in depth than things. So if we know what to do, why do we still fail? So I'm going to explore some business explanations for this reason and psychological insights into failure too. Because as much as we build on our success, we can keep saying we want to do this, we're going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to put a business plan in action. I am pumped up. We're going to do this today. I'm going to be at all 4 meetings and I'm going to do all of this work. And we don't have any action of success. We have nothing in the end of the day, or we fail. So I'm just kind of going to run through some of the reasons why. Business explanations and then psychological. So here's some of the main business explanations. All right. Failure to execute your strategies. So, according to Harvard Business School, 90% of organizations fail to execute their strategy successfully due to ineffective execution. So, the gap often exists between poor resource allocation, lack of risk management, and insufficient organizational support. So their systems aren't in place, right? There's a lack of risk management. There's no decision makers making those tough decisions or looking to take a little bit risk here or there. They take too many risks or not enough risks, right? And they can't allocate correctly. They don't leverage things the way they should. Lack of market research. Again, look at inadequate market research. They might enter markets without understanding target consumer behavior or the real demand for their offerings. So again, that might go into putting yourself in others' shoes, right? So when you're across the table, what you have to understand what that buyer is looking for, all right? It's not about you. It has nothing to do with you. You've got to be them for a minute. When you're on a listing appointment, you need to act as a buyer, right? When you're working with a buyer, you have to pick out correct properties for them or literally ask them and find out their whys. Why are they doing what they want to do? You have to do the deep dive into them so that you can understand them better. Again, and nothing to do with you, but if you don't do the research and the target behaviors that are happening today, this day and age, the millennials, for example, are our biggest market right now. And you know what? We have an overpopulation of senior citizens. There is a huge demand for one floor living right now, multi-generational homes. My gosh, the level between the haves and the have-nots is so unbelievably divided. Is anyone doing any research and finding help for rentals in the rental market or helping people try to develop a strategy like the consumer credit program and that ELG is offering, right? I hope everybody's taken that class by now to understand the complexity of that program. I'm having my son do it, right? Because it's such a benefit. So if you know about these programs and you're not getting out there, because I think that is understanding target consumer behaviors right now. And if you have a solution for that, but you're not getting out there and telling people about it, what are you doing? You've got to understand this marketing research, what they're demanding, and how you're going to answer that demand, right? Resource challenges, insufficient finances. Let's face it. It's like, okay, what do we say? What do I always say? It's like, okay, put on your marketing hat. Who's running the marketing department? Who's in charge of operations over there in marketing, because where is the marketing budget? And if you don't have a marketing budget right now, that supposedly say, we're supposed to, I always say anywhere between, it varies literally, but 10% usually marketing, my total gross goes to marketing at least, if not 15%. So we need to think about that. And if you don't have a marketing budget, then you have to plan better, okay? You're going to set up for pitfalls. You have to have the workforce to do the marketing, right? The time, energy, and effort it takes to work it and put that marketing hat on every day and do it yourself, or you have to leverage it and pay somebody. Because the sales and marketing department, without that, our businesses fail. Hands down. Okay? Now, it could be picking up your phone every day and making those phone calls and sitting there with a cup of coffee and going through your database. It could be as simple as that. One of the most successful agents I've ever met picks up her cell phone and starts an A, and she just clicks and dials and clicks and dials and clicks and dials, and that's what she does. And she goes A to Z, and then she starts over again. And she's one of the most successful, just in her contacts on her phone, nothing else. Hi, how you doing? She just reaches out. That's all she does. Never spent one dime. Think about that. But somebody has to do it. She spends the time to do it, though. Make sense? Some are unrealistic financial projections, right? So we plan when we do our business sheets and we look at our budgets, we look at our marketing budgets, and we try to project income based on numbers that don't exist in history that you don't have, right? Because we don't know what your listing conversion rate is. On how many listing appointments do you have, right? How many listings do you get out of those? So if you go on 10 listing appointments and you only get six of those listings, that's a 60% success rate for that. Maybe you don't have those numbers and when you do this accounting, right, on your business sheet, you over project perhaps, right, without having that solid basis of data behind you, right? So I want you to keep that in mind when you do the numbers, okay? When we really go into do the deep dive into those numbers and a lack of flexibility. All right. Things change rapidly, my God, especially in real estate. Oh, gosh. And don't you hate the news, by the way? Always 3 months behind. Always 3 months behind the ball on everything. I can't even watch them anymore. It makes me so crazy. Hey, did anyone hear, by the way, that there was I think the president dropped something about a 50-year mortgage program, perhaps?
Yeah, I saw something
Yep.
about that. I didn't read it.
Interesting.
I have mixed thoughts about that,
I do
Cara.
too. Haven't even I haven't even processed that yet. I can see right away I can see the good and I can see the bad. But it depends, on again, I'm listening to a news reporter say it and she was giving two completely separate interest rates. I have no idea where she got those. So it was slanted. Um Anyway, I haven't done a deep dive into that thought yet, but I don't know. Maybe it would be helpful for some people, trying to get into the market right now. On average, we know that people only stay in their homes usually about it's still 7 to 10 years, correct? I think it went down to 5
It's
actually.
11, actually, Cara. I just read the report that came out from NAR. It's the longest because of this interest rate.
And the interest rates have projected our numbers. Historically, it's always been like usually about 7 years. Okay, averaging. Okay, so these are the business reasons why a business might fail. Now, I'm going to get into the psychological reasons, which is more interesting to me than anything. And here's where we do the deep dive, you know, into ourselves. So, this is something I would like you guys to consider. The fear of failure. Concerns about not meeting expectations or experiencing setbacks can discourage individuals from taking risks or trying new things. And these are all the psychological in the psychological world of why people fail now. Um, I believe this is related to shame, the fear of shame. Okay, so the fear of failure is always kind of when you go down and you do the deep dive into that, you would be so ashamed. You're just so ashamed of failing. And by the way, at the very beginning of this, Simon Sinek said, we're already developed. Young, we're products of our upbringing, right? Your mind, your behavior, so your subconscious is all learned. We're in the delta theta state up until the ripe old age of 7, right? So everything that we have learned and ingrained in our subconscious is learned pretty much by the age of 7. So it could be as easy as, you know, um, a fear of shame. Like, you could have lost a race or something when you like, I don't know, a running race in the backyard when you were 5 and you were just like so ashamed or you fell or something like that. And that fear might have stuck in our subconscious all this time, right? We don't know, but I want you to think about that, right? I want you to think about what touches you right now as we kind of go through some of these and see if you can relate them to anything about you. Fear of success. So here's an interesting one. The potential changes and responsibilities that come with success can be intimidating, causing resistance to taking steps that might lead you to success. I like to think of it as a yo-yo of success. It's a tension that pulls you back. You get a little success, but you have such a fear of it because of not being good enough, of maybe even being a fraud. It pulls you back. The tension pulls you back. So I think of it as a pendulum swing or a yo-yo of success. That tension will always pull you. You might get the taste. You're on the right track. You're doing all the right things, and all of a sudden, you're back to the drawing board again, and you have no idea why. You have no idea why. Well, think of the fear of success, a fear of not being good enough, a fear of being a fraud, or a simple fear that you think that responsibility will be way too much. You can't handle it. It's going to be too intimidating for you. You are not good enough to handle all of that responsibility. Or, I don't call it lazy, but it's on that same level of like, I just don't want to do that. Right? It's just too stressful for me in my life right now. It could even be, and I want uh, this could go relate to our parents and our parents' parents and their history and, the way we're raised and brought up. There could be a relationship also to, how do I say this without, that a woman's place might not be greater in the home than a man's. There might be some, uh, if you're a woman, now these are just for the women out there, don't take offense, man. But sometimes women have a fear of making more money than their husbands because the husband might feel intimidated or a little bit on the opposite side of where he should unmasculine because of that reason. So a woman might pull back just for that and not even know why. And that has come up in psychology and been proven before. So I'm not saying, but I just wanted to throw that out there as an example of a like a relationship or an inherited way of thinking of almost like old times. I mean, let's face it, women, we've been kind of under the gun, since the 30s. When was vote the 20? When were we the right to vote? It was less than 100 years ago, right? So just think of it like things like that, okay? Fear of rejection, the apprehension of being turned down or not fitting in can prevent individuals for pursuing opportunities or expressing their true selves. Fear of not being worthy of love. That's kind of how I look at that, right? A sadness, fear of rejection. I can't be that sad. That'll crush my little heart, right? I have to protect my heart. So I can't be rejected on anymore. And I'm going to tell you, and this might not be the good profession in sales if you have a fear of rejection. But sometimes we move into, I like there's an upswing. There's a little balance to this too. Sometimes we throw ourselves in front of a moving car so that we can feel it, we can get through it, and we can grow. So if you have this and you're in the real estate, you're in the sales world, which we are, we're in sales, right? And you have this, then it's time to acknowledge it and move on and grow because I think that's what you're supposed to be doing, right?
One
To
interesting thing,
acknowledge
Tara,
it.
one interesting thing, having moved from corporate finance to sales, more so sales, is and we can talk about if this is a good idea or not, but love the process. To me, it's repetitions. I want to get my repetitions of reaching out, of asking, of introducing. I'm almost less interested or less concerned about the outcome of those repetitions. It's just more getting my reps in.
That's right. Habit forming, atomic habits. We're going to talk about James Clear in a minute too, because he wrote this great book called Atomic Habits. I don't know if you're anybody ever read that? Read it.
Yeah,
I've
I read that
suggested
one.
it before. Yeah.
Yep, I've read it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tara, I have it on audio and I have the hard copy. That is a phenomenal book. And that there's so many principles in that book alone that can help you succeed.
Yeah.
Anybody.
I love it. It's one of my favorites. And he talks about fears all the time. He actually relates every fear to going back. Your subconscious thinks you're going to die. Like, I have to do this because if I don't, I'm going to die. And I love the way he says that sometimes. I just love it. But it's so true because our subconscious is just made. It's like, okay, do we know this? Nope, we've never gone there before. It's the fear of the unknown, right? Fear of pain and suffering. You're going to die. If it's so untested and so foreign to you to try to do something, you have to stay safe. Your subconscious makes you stay safe. And that's kind of what James talks about a lot, isn't it? He talks about systemizing, James, same thing, systemizing success, right? Uh, Definitely one of his highlights is you have to have a system. If your systems aren't in place correctly, you're going to fail, right? So a lot of his is set the systems up, get your patterns correct, form the habits, right? Look at your patterns and how they develop. And then here's a few more: fear of changes and staying safe. People often prefer familiarity because change can disrupt their comfort zone. Fear of not being good enough, fear of shame, fear of criticism, fear of authority. There's a good one too, right? Not having permission. You have to get permission. I don't know about you guys, but I went to Catholic school. Man, I've got a little bit of that going on. Stay in line or you're going to get hit by a tennis ball. in class, you know? All of a sudden off the head off your head, what kind if you're talking, out of order or something, you know? So it depends on what world and your past experiences and what you were raised in, right? So you might want to think about all of this. Here it is, right? Four laws of behavior change from Atomic Habits. To create a good habit, you have to make it obvious, right, James? I'm talking to I'm talking to James Murphy now, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
talking about that. To create those good habits, you have to make it obvious, you have to make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. So it's the repetition. It's making it very, you know, behavioral changing to form these habits. And how do you break a bad habit? Well, you got to make it obvious. You have to make it unattractive, make it hard and dissatisfying on yourself, right? And you have to hide it a lot. Like, okay, I'm going to make that really impossible. Or like, okay, for instance, let's just talk about like breaking a habit of like overeating or something like that, not eating good foods. Well, if you literally don't have it in the house, right? You just empty your shelves and there's nothing to eat in the house. Guess what? You're making it obvious. It's just gone. It's out of sight. You can't have it because it's not there. You have made it hard to get, right? Making it dissatisfying. You know what I mean? I don't know how you make food dissatisfying, the good stuff, but I'm sure there's a way to do it. You know, I guess you couldn't put ketchup on a cake and see how that.
I have a way. I have a way. When I think about candy or sweets, because I have a sweet tooth sometimes, I think about how many minutes it will be on the elliptical to burn off the calories. And I ask myself, is this worth 30 minutes on the elliptical?
Is it worth the effort? Yeah, is it worth it? 1 minute on the lips and, forever on the hips, right? Yeah. Okay. So those are just a little bit of the James Clear behavioral changes, right? Okay. So the business planning template is going to be in Fathom Academy, but I'm going to give you a copy of it right now and a couple of other things. And it's a way to work backwards. So we've got the gross commission and our very first and what I want you guys to understand is that it's already it's an Excel sheet. Let me show it to you right now. Okay, hang on, hang in there with me. I have it pulled up somewhere right behind me. Oop, sorry, I gotta move a couple things around. There's my motivators. And I haven't pulled out. Where is it? Where's my Excel sheet? Here it is. Got it. Sorry. This is what it looks like. Okay. I will drop it in the chat before we take off. It's already 7:12 and I don't want to waste too much of your time, but I need to go through this sheet with you and I'm going to try to do it as quickly as I can. It's a long sheet. It has a lot of pages in it, okay? So I'm going to try to get to the very first page, okay? And this is what it looks like. And this is just an example of what it looks like. I really do love this because it has everything I like in it. Um, you can change the white. Okay, so you don't want to do the gray boxes and things like that, okay, or an additional marketing I think you can add to. But see, it's already done and it's an Excel sheet. So if I change this number up here, what kind of gross commission income will I earn? So if I want to earn $250,000, all right, it's going to auto-populate a few fields for me. And you're going to have to change some of them, okay? How much do you pay to brokerage? Well, that depends on what plan you're on with Fathom, okay? Any referral fees paid. So all of these are auto-populated by other boxes as you go through the sheet, okay? But how much do you pay per closing, right? The white boxes you can manipulate right now. And any white box you see along the way you can manipulate. So I wouldn't worry too much about the referral paid by other realtors right now because that's in another sheet, all right? But you do want to look at the average sale price, average commission rate, okay? And how many referrals you might go for, like if I had three or not. Um, okay, does this make sense? So total cost, it's gonna auto-populate the total cost for you. If I say 500 or I could do a 12% or let's say my average is like $1,200. If that was the case here for a transaction closing fee, then these numbers would all change. Did you see it all just kind of flick around? Okay.
Are we going to get a copy of this, Cara?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give it to you literally in about five. I'm gonna drop it in the chat. In fact, why don't I do that right now so that everybody can just have it tonight? This will also You don't even have to download it in the chat. It's as easy as going to Fathom Academy, and by tomorrow, it's going to be uploaded with the video, this replay, and also all of the slides and my other sheets for session one. Okay.
Nice. Thank you.
It's all going to be in the
I've been doing mine
chat.
by hand, Cara.
Oh no, no, no. I have a this is a huge one. But let me get that to you right now. So just give me a sec. I'm gonna drop it here. I'm gonna have to find it for a sec. Where is it? Um, Master business plan. Here we go. Is it the 2026 one? Yes. Okay. Okay, it's in the chat. So what I'm looking at is what you're looking at. All right. I suggest you make a copy. And so you can always go back to this one a little bit, and then you can start your own from here. All right. I did just drop it in the chat for everybody. And your total commission is here. Again, auto-populated, paid to brokerage, transaction fee, buyer specialist, anybody showing agents commission, anything like that. So if you have help, and you can download that and make an adjustment for that too. Here are your operating expenses, okay? If you need to add more columns, you can. But this will again total of the below lines, any percentages that you're having in there. So photography, staging, media, digital marketing, brochures, signs, magnets, anything that you could think of, you can put in here. And here's if you have the rent, if you're paying, technology, app supplies. So look to your taxes, go through your taxes and look at your write-offs, okay? So it's going to determine what your net income is from this, okay? Well, how much do you give away to charity? What are your income taxes? That'll deduct again and again, and now we're down to what we make, right? 56% take home, okay? And that's because of these numbers. What's your hourly wage, guys? Ah, love it. Worked how many weeks, how many hours in a week? All right. I love doing this number. So hourly works in a week. If I work 60 hours a week and I'm working 45, I work more than 40. I don't know how many weeks. Let's just say I work about, I'll be nice and say I take three. No, I can't be that nice. I take 2 weeks off a year, okay? I work 60 hours a week. Guess what? My wages got cut down. I'm like, oh, I have to look at that and say, oh my gosh, 66. So how can I make $130 an hour? You know what I mean? That's what I want to do, right? How can I, how can I get away with, I don't want to sell 20 houses. How do I get to the bigger rocks? How do I get how do I make working easier for myself and get so my average commission is greater, right? My average sale price, how do I get from here to this? You know what I mean? 1 million, right? How do I get, because now I'm going to have less sales to deal with, right? I just cut my business down in half. I have more time on my hands to do things, right? So I love that this has this in here, right? But if I just work 40 hours a week and I work 50 weeks a year, I'm up to $100 an hour, okay? Okay. Economic model. How do I get there? Okay. So how many sales am I going to take this year? What percentage of your business is going to be sales? I think I usually do about 70%, but let's just say 60, and gross revenue from sellers, right? Now, did I change this? I want to see if I change this. I'm going to put this back. I think my average is probably about 600,000. Right? Try to be reasonable. Okay. Um, okay, because it's going to change these numbers up for me too. Gross revenue from sellers, volume from sellers. Your average price for sale is 550. Let's just say that. I make it 600 or whatever. I can change it as I go. So how many numbers of houses for sellers sold? 13. All right. So in order to make my numbers, I have to sell 13 houses. What percentage of listings do you close? So you got to go back and look at those ratios. Remember I was talking about the data? Okay. If you don't have any data, this is where you kind of might make mistakes. So I want you to be realistic. These are goal settings and we have to be smart goals. And we'll talk about smart goals next week, right? Really do a deep dive into goals. But we have to be realistic when we set our goals. So if you've never sold one house before or haven't sold any yet, and you don't know how exactly you're going to get there, but you have sky high. I get it. We've got to be reasonable as to what we expect our gross commission income will be. Okay. Um, and you've got to be reasonable on how many sales you might be making this year. If your goal is to sell one property a month, that's a lot. I mean, look at how many houses I have to sell right now just to get to my GCI. All right. So be reasonable is what I'm asking you to do. What percentage of listings close? 80% of those. So out of that, I have to take 17 a year. If 80%, I'm at 13 now because 13 needs to sell, and it's going to be 60% of my business. Listing appointments do I need to do this year? 25, right? How many listing presentations a week? That brings me down to one a week. I have to do one a week. I have to do one a week. What is the average days on market? Maybe 60. I could cut down to 45, but as we get a little bit longer, it depends. Usually it's about, I don't know, 35, 40 right now. Depending, I don't know how you guys are doing with listings. Sometimes they're gone in a day. And that really does depend on what your average total price is up here because, let's face it, anything under 600,000 or 500,000 is going to sell like hotcakes still in our market. I'm asking you to be reasonable again. Uh, and so how many listings you need to have active on the market at all times? I need 3 on the market at all time to make my numbers. Do you see how real this gets? So here we are in the buyer column. Because I put in 60% over here, it's already calculating some numbers for me. Your average sale price is what changes. And because I said 60%, now I'm at 9 because my total is going to be 22, right? To get to my numbers. What percentage? I get 80% of my buyers that will find something, hopefully. Number shown a year, 12. Number of buyers you show in a year. I have to work with 12 buyers a year. What percentage of those buyers that I show actually sell a house? 65% of those. The number of consultations I need 18 consultations. And how many consultations each week? One. Do you see where I get? I have to do one a week in a consultation. I have to do one listing appointment and one buyer consultation a week. So I better free up my calendar for those hours, by the way, that it's going to take me to do all that work, right? Average time working with a buyer. Ooh, look at that, 60. So if I work 60 hours working with one buyer and I have to work with 18 buyers and only 12 of them sell, here's my numbers. Isn't that cool? I have to work with 2 buyers at all times. Okay. Lead generation model. We're gonna get into this more too. And not only are we gonna fill this out, guys, but we're gonna be like, okay, I gotta make some changes. I've got to do some. I have to look at my passion, right? Where's my why? What do I want to concentrate on? We're gonna pick a couple of different things, marketing plans, and we're gonna get expertise level on them before we move on to something else. So I know it sounds good to have, okay, I'm gonna work on farming and I'm gonna do videos, I'm gonna do social media, I'm gonna pay lead gen, and I'm gonna send out mailers and all this other stuff. That's too much. You've got to concentrate on your sphere. Okay, great. So I say I'm going to concentrate on my sphere. What 36 ways am I going to touch my sphere in the upcoming year? All right. So what am I going to do to my sphere? And this is how I determine it too. I love this sheet again because it's showing me how many people do I have in that I already know, and how many people have I not met yet, and how many sales of each am I coming from those, right? So a lot of people, 80% of their business comes from their spheres, right? The people that we know. And people I've met in my database, 18. How many sales will have you not met yet? 4. How many you need this many contacts in your Met database, 106 to meet those numbers, right? That's what this says. I think you need more, but that's me. Um, Dunbar's rule, I think it's 150 at all times that you can keep a relationship with, 150 people. My maiden name is Dunbar, by the way, just saying. Anyway, that's Dunbar's rule of thumb. 150 people you can keep a relationship with at all times. I'm sure there are other matrix on that, but that's mine. Anyway, but this kind of breaks it down. The 4 sources where you will meet the unmets. Now, this one says you can change these, please. All right. This is how many conversations it takes to get an appointment. So out of FISBOing, I need to talk to 25 FISBO to get an appointment. And these numbers have to change as you work, guys. You have to keep digging this sheet out and update, because without the right data, it's going to be that, again, the business part of that failing section and the numbers are off and you were over projected. All right, we have to keep going back to the numbers. I know a lot of you are not numbers people, they're not data people, but this is one thing you have to get good at. Everybody needs to get really, really, really good and focused and hone in on this skill of understanding their numbers and how they work. Okay. What are the 36 ways you will touch people? This is an example. All right. So you're going to send monthly emails out to everybody. You're going to send a monthly postcard out to everybody. You're going to call them quarterly, talent appreciation event once a year, Met database event, happy home anniversary text, happy birthday text, handwritten notes, one handwritten note, send sports schedule, send whatever. You can do whatever you want and comment on Facebook posts. Okay. So again, where will you get these names? Choose 3 sources to master this year. What are you going to master? Organizational model. Who will help me get to those sales? And this is like numbers and stuff like that of how you're going to pay somebody if you do have to include salaries or leveraging anybody. Okay. I'm not sure if you're there yet, but this is a great example on maybe paying somebody a little extra, transaction coordinator or somebody like that, to leverage your time, because our whole fourth, literally one of our fourth meeting is all going to be around time management and how we deal with all the productivity and time management. Once we set up our schedules, which is the third meeting, right, on marketing and sales and what we're going to do, and do a deep dive into how we get there, then we're going to have to try and manage everything. All right. So this is going to be our Bible for the next few weeks on how we get everywhere. So I want everybody to try to fill this out to the best of their ability over the next week. Okay. Number of goals category. And this is just the first page, guys. Now we're looking at sources. Now this is the second page. This is the sources. All right. Uh, Hang on, I'm going to enlarge this for you. So you can see this is the second page of that model. All right. This is the third page, allocation form. This is what you pay for house and food and recreation and credit cards to keep your budget on track. Here's some things about your annuals. Total sales for the year. So these are annual numbers of business goals, your job goals. So you're going to take that sheet and you're going to be, okay, maybe you can go through this with last year and look at it and write it in here. All right. And see how you did. And then make another one and decide what you're going to do this year. This is how we're going to do it. Choose one goal that is most important. I call it my one bat. So what is the number one thing that is priority in your time? And then you can go back to by your motivation, what motivates you. Pick 1 or 2 things that motivate you. What do you want to do, right? What do you want to achieve, right? That one thing. You pick 2 things of your motivation, right? Keep that in mind when you're writing that one goal, right? But the thing is, on a daily basis, this is yearly goal. Your daily goal, I call it one bat. It is the one thing I will not go to bed with without doing, no matter what. No matter what, I do not break it. It is a living covenant in my life, in my house, my name. I cannot go to bed without doing that one thing each day that I set out to do. And I give myself a priority list each day, and I won't go to bed without doing it. And if I do, trust me, it's because of a good reason. Really good reason that I don't do my one bat. And that's a daily goal. All right. We're going to do deep dives next week into goals, but here's your sales pipeline just to keep track of the number, where you are. All right. Um, Sell sides, buyer sides, appointments in their date, address, name. This is a great form to keep too, by the way, so you can keep track of them. Even if you could do this in a good CRM, if you use the CRM, please try it. But even if you do it in the CRM, it's good to copy so you can just see it visually as it come up and change it as you go. Number of tens needed. Every month you can change that. How many more do I need this month? And here's your tracking, right? This is wall value. Okay, so it tracks your goal and actual. So here's my goal. This is what I did. Here's my goal and this is what I did. Okay. Um, and then throughout the year, track these numbers. Okay. Year-to-date listing appointments, year-to-date listings taken, year-to-date closings, year-to-date GCI. All right. Keep tracking that. Here's your SWOT table. All right. Your strength, weaknesses. I want you to fill this out. Sorry, that's an extra page if you need something. 15th protocol. I'm not sure who came up with this. I know it's in a training somewhere and other people have done it, but it's a really cool thing to understand. So each 15th of the month, it's like if the 15th of the month comes and we do not have all the numbers below, two seller appointments this month, two listing appointments, what's your goals for the month? You
Mm.
have to determine this, okay? You've got to determine this where you are in your monthly goal on the first business plan sheet, right? What you have to do for a month, two listing appointments. So on my goals, I have to do one a week for listing appointments. And if I haven't done like four, like what do I need to do now? And how behind am I? Then I promise to do the following actions until I can say the above numbers are true. So every 15th, pull this out. I will host 3 open houses a week until we are caught up on appointments. I will call, how many calls do I have to make to do my goals? What do I have to catch up on to actually accomplish this? Kind of a cool little tablet here, don't you think? To check in. Now, this is just, workflow organizational chart here. Right now, you could be the owner, the CEO, the leader of everything. You are that person. But these are all the different roles here that we might have to think about. And when I say we wear a lot of hats, well, here we are. We're the owner, we're the CEO, director of sales, listing specialist, buyer specialist, showing agents, director of lead gen. Where's the marketing department? Where is the accounting department? Okay, we have to be able, and this is the operations, marketing, listing coordinator, transaction coordinator, and a runner, right? And here's the director of expansion who's working on the business locally. Okay, a little bit of an organizational chart there, and you can fill that out by yourself or make it larger, bigger, however you like it to look. Here's your week schedule, your perfect week. Okay. Activities that are not are already on it. So here's what you're going to do weekly, and we need to think month by month at this point. Two, I want by the end of the 4 weeks that we have every day filled out for the next, 52 weeks by January 1st, because January 1st, as you know, I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but it is the busiest work day of the year for us. It is the best, most profitable, best conversations you can have with your sphere, at least with your sphere, if not with anybody else, January 1st. So I want kind of everything set up by then so you can start saying, hey, by the way, in February, I'm going to have an appreciation event or I'm going to do something. And it's already kind of planned in your head to do it, right? And this is where we fall down. We don't have things, we just kind of on the fly all the time. This is your one thing. My yearly goal, monthly goal, weekly goal, and daily goal. I have a great planner, by the way, that's awesome. It's called Rocketbook. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. A lot of digital things are happening now, and I'm going to go through some tools. I'm going to have a whole list of tools that you can help organize your life a little bit better. Lots of apps, lots of tools, lots of like in-hand stuff too. But these are just sheets to help you if you just, want to print them off. This is your to-do list for the working in your business. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's just a chart, okay? Prioritizing, growth plan. We've got a growth plan happening too. And Laura, closed sales, listings taken, listings sold, last year's business, this year's business. Okay. And here's your vision board. Okay. This is that data vision board I told you about. So we've got a lot of pages happening in this. I really love this business plan. I love that everything auto populates for you. It's all in one place. You can just pull it up like this. All right. It's a master business planning sheet here for 2026.
All right, it didn't open. It wasn't working. The extension didn't work.
It didn't work.
For the Excel sheet, it's Rodney. Yeah, the Excel
Oh,
sheet didn't work.
hmm. Okay. Hold on a second. You know what I can do then?
Rain. Oh yeah, no, it's been here part of the
Give me a
rainstorm.
second, Rodney. I'm going to share something else then. Um, if you guys don't mind, give me a second to set this up. I'll put it in a Google Drive doc and give you guys the code to the Google Drive. How about that?
Oh, okay, awesome.
Google Docs. I'll share a Google Doc with you. You guys all good with that? The right
Yeah.
one it's going to be in Fathom Academy under the training materials in the session. I will definitely make sure it's correct there.
Okay, yep.
But let me do this. Uh, add it here. I add it. Give me a sec. Um, drop it. No, I didn't want to do that. All right, so I'm gonna do, I thought it was just a document, new doc. Yeah, I'm not good with Google Docs, as you know, as you can see. So give me a sec.
Is it from, is that an Excel spreadsheet or is it a Google slide?
No, it's an Excel sheet, but I thought I can, do I have to do it in the Google, hang on a second, Google Sheets? Maybe that's a sheet. And let me try to drag and drop it in here. I thought I could just add it. Oh, maybe I have to, oh, master, here we go. November 5th. Why can't I just add one? Oh, I guess this will do. But I didn't, oh, I did put the SWOT tables in here too. Okay, it's all here. I thought this one didn't have it. Okay, great. So let me try to share this. I just could copy link. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, I think I can do this. So let me just post the link. Guys, please make a copy and then you can go off and print or move it, okay? So if anybody wants to click on that and see if they can open this, let me know. Make
It
sure.
asked me, I think it said send request to owner for access or something like that.
Try this link. See if that one
Oh,
worked.
okay.
I just gave it access. I didn't restrict it.
Okay, I think it did open, yeah.
Is that opening? Okay, great.
It opened for me, Cara. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So you guys can download it now and just make a copy and then and then you can just yeah, find it in definitely you can always go back to the training materials. So after this is over, which I'm kind of getting to the end, I'm sorry this went too long tonight. I was trying to keep it to an hour, at least hour and 15-ish, hour and 20 maybe, but I know it went over. But I'm really grateful that everybody hung out and hung around on the call all this time. I know some of you guys had to run, but don't worry, there's more to come. This is just the beginning. All right, we're just setting foundations at this point and establishing some ideas, establishing, what we need to think about this week. Again, SWOT, do your SWOT table, okay? Definitely do that. Try to go through your business plan. Try to understand what your numbers were last year, if you have any, and pull it out and what you want to accomplish this year. How much, start with your GCI that you want to do and work backwards from there. And what you're going to concentrate on the most. I think that's the biggest part of this is where are we going to focus? What is our passion? What is our why? Write your mission statement. All right. Write your value proposition. Hopefully you can create a tagline for yourself. Understand you do the friends test, please, with somebody. Will you guys all do all this until next time? And by the way, this business planning sheet, if you have other occupations, anybody can use this, honestly. It's very, very good for a lot of different businesses too, not just real estate. This keeps all CEOs together, right? We always have to look at every department we're running right now, and we really do need to think of ourselves as the business owners, and we are in charge. And think of yourself as, okay, well, who's running the sales and marketing department right now? Who's running operations? Who's running in the accounting department? And if you're supposed to be doing all this and you have no time, it's exhausting and you're going to get burned out. All right. So you have to understand you are a real estate salesperson or broker. And the minute you got your license, and I say this all the time, is you just put a open for business sign on your front door. All right. You just opened your own business. And you have to think like a business owner. You have to get in that mindset. And we all have our own talents. Some of us might be like high D and a C, which is a great combination if you're a CEO. Not that great though if you're relating to the public and getting that trust factor in where we have to nurture and love on our sphere. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
we've got to look at all of our personalities, right? And we've got to look at our interests and our passions. And I want everybody to be excited about what they're doing because if you're not excited about it, we need to figure out what is going to make you excited every day to get up and sit at your desk and say, Yay, I can't wait for today, right? What am I going to do today? This is going to be awesome. And this is what I'm going to tackle today. We have to get to that spot. And,
Tara,
look at all your fears too, by the way, and try to figure that out if you have any. Yep, go ahead, Terry.
I'm just writing down the homework. You
Yeah.
want us to do the friends test,
hmm
work on that spreadsheet,
Yeah. Look at
and
your
what else?
numbers. Okay, the friends test. Okay, a value proposition. Try to write a good value proposition for yourself. All right, mission statement, value proposition. Right. Um,
Right.
I want you to think about that, you know, look at the business and the psychological fears that we ran through and why business fails. Like, and see if you can identify anything, see if anything rings true in your head about like, yeah, I don't like to do that. Why don't I like to do that? And you have to do the deep dive all the time, right? And keep deep diving into why you don't like to do something. So, give yourself some time to process that and see if anything strikes you. And you know what? Once you realize that once it's brought to your awareness, it's much easier to deal with. Once it's like, you know what, I'm going to admit that's me. Now that I know that's a big obstacle in my way, I'm going to do something about it this year. And there are many things you can do about it. Many things that we can get through and do that I can suggest and say, you know what? I have a fear of making phone calls. I just can't deal with the rejection. Okay, well, great. So let's put on your CEO hat and make some decisions about your sales and marketing team then, right?
Tara,
Yeah.
one thing that was huge with me is I am like an expert procrastinator. I have got that skill down, and that is a big problem with my business. So I guess I would say like 10 years ago, I just say to myself, do it now, do it now, do it now. And I literally just do a to-do list every day and cross every single thing out because that's what holds me back, calling that client. Oh no, do it now. So that's kind of, I would say, a big hurdle to overcome. I don't know if anybody else on the call has that problem, but I
Terry,
really,
We all do.
I,
Terry,
yeah,
why,
yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
Terry,
I've mastered
Go ahead, Mike. Is
procrastination
that you?
Terry, in a 1 minute soundbite, why do you do that? Why do you make that list? Tell me why.
because I want to get stuff done.
Thank you. Okay,
You know
so
what?
let me
Yeah,
let me pick you back real quick. So everybody, Kara is right. Who on this call, real quick, likes to make the phone calls to call people? James, Eric, Lanier,
yeah.
somebody. You want to make that call? Yes or no?
I actually like that phone call. I get energized by phone calls. I would say my paperwork, because Kara could vouch for that. It's other
Terry, I can
tasks
bet
that,
you everybody is just saying no right now. Is it a no
yeah,
or is it a yes, guys? Anybody has a yes, wants to make that phone call to get that deal?
No.
Eric, I'm putting you on the spot with that house. Did you want to make the call for sale by owner at 550? Yes or no? And it was a no, but he made the call. And in 3 weeks he got paid. So based on what you
amazing.
said, Kara, I grabbed three principles from it. I do have a unique value proposition, which translate from before real estate, which is every client deserves your honesty, your transparency, and your integrity. The only thing we have that give us sales is our word. There's
Yes.
nothing else out there, whether you're with Fathom, whether you're with another brokerage. People don't buy into the name, they buy into you,
By you.
right? So get over the fear of not to do something, get over the why. Why do I have to do it? Do I want to quit my job that pays my health insurance? Any mentee I have, I tell you, it's not your job, that 40-hour job you're going to for the last X amount of years. That gives you your health insurance. Real estate is what your job is.
hmm
Because if you do 4 deals to 6 deals a year, most of the times it blows that job out of the water that pays your health insurance. So, three things you touch on, Cara. Your why. What's the core? What's the purpose of your business? Right? Don't chase the money. Help people buy homes.
That's right.
If you change your why to helping as many people as possible to buy a house, the right house, so you're not forcing them. You're giving them the numbers. You're telling them, yes, you don't do so and so inspection. Listen to the inspector. Here is the banker I trust. You're helping them. So you're not pressuring, you're not forcing, but you also tell the story. 15 years ago, Mary Sue said she's waiting on the crash. It's 2025. She's still waiting on the
Waiting on,
crash.
that's right. Yeah.
And
Forever.
if somebody says to you, I want that 3% rate, you ask them, in 2021, were you qualified to buy? No, I wasn't. Are you qualified to buy now in 2025? Yes, I am. It's your time to buy. That's the why. The how is, what are your processes? What do you bring to the table? Focus on your plan. Helping people buy homes. The more people we help, you'll get the payoff. And the
Rodney,
third thing is the
do
what.
you realize,
You
wait,
said it, your
before you
products.
do the third thing, do you realize that you just helped somebody else get to their why? Their why?
And that's what I'm telling everybody.
Yeah.
Find the
Just
why.
help them
And the
get.
why is not about the fear. The why is about the end result. Helping people.
You just help somebody
Right?
discover their why. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Go ahead.
What products and services? We have Go Social. It's free to you. We
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of things that are free to you. Jump into the back end of Fathom. Go back to that roadmap that we showed you when you just joined. See what services are there that you're not using. Fix your CRM before January 1st.
No.
And the last piece I'm telling you is your opportunity to touch your database is every holiday, you text everybody in your phone, including your current boss, and say, from your realtor James, from your realtor Amani. If you're in a company where you cannot do that, make sure those people are not in that section of your phone when you're texting 300 people. But get over the fear and text everybody in your phone, including your mother, your wife, your children, from your realtor Terry, from your realtor Eric.
Mhm.
Oh,
And that
that's
will give you
great.
difference. All right?
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rodney. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love Rodney, by the way. If you guys don't know who Rodney is, he's in our Southeastern District with Steph, and they're awesome over there too, and they're always helpful too. You know what I was thinking of too, and one more thing that will just kind of touch on that too. What's her name? 5 second rule. Ah, gosh, what's her name? I can't think of her right. Mel Robbins. 5 second rule. She's proven it. Procrastination, it will help you. If you guys want to read the book, go ahead. She's got a whole thing on it. Something in your brain when you it helps you when you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and just do it. So when you're always thinking of procrastinating, it's kind of like what Terry was saying with the cross out. Just do it. Something makes you go and will help you move along to the next step if you start to stagger or get stuck or procrastinate. It's called the 5 second rule. Check it out. Anyway, that will end that. I think that's going to end today. But the tools and everything that's coming. You should see what we're going to be doing in the next few weeks. So stay tuned. I hope you guys all will come back. We're going to see you on the 25th. Get done what we were talking about. Look into your 2025. If your business plan, pull it out, dust it off. Get to the new template that we just gave you. Do your value proposition. Get your mission statement together. Get your database in order. Good thought right up front. We're going to need those 100 and so people. So when your numbers come out and how many people, you better check your CRM to make sure you have that number in your sphere, right? Because that's part of that database, the business plan that we were talking about. So let's move forward and we're going to talk next week on the 25th. Okay, we'll see you then. Thanks for sticking
Thanks,
around,
Cara.
everybody.
Thank you, Cara.
All right.
Have a great
Thanks,
evening.
Cara.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Okay. Have a great night, everybody.
Night.
Good, thanks.
Good night. Thanks.